I have done many videos on the I Ching, Yi Jing, or Book of Changes before, but I had a gift card to Barnes and Noble, and I went there the other day and I found a version of the I Ching which is totally different than any others I've ever had. So I decided to add this to our little talking point here today. And it's unique in many, many ways. First, I'll just show you the cover so you can see what it looks like. And you see there, it's the occult I Ching. Now, however you think of that word, you can't take it for granted because what the person who wrote this makes of it is different. The Secret Language of Serpents. Notice the author. Her name is very hard to pronounce, but she considers herself one who studies nature, witchcraft, occult, uh, dynamics, physics, psychology, and sacred texts of all kinds. Plus, the drawing that you see on the front of this is from her. So not only does she do a lot of research, but she does a lot of drawings. Now, there are several things that are different about this book than any others. And I will tell you quickly that one thing she does in here is say that she's taken much of her learning about the I Ching from Stephen Karcher, Karcher. Now, I have several Karcher books on the I Ching, and he used to work for the Jungian Institute in Switzerland that did essays on many subjects, but they spent a great deal of time doing those just on the I Ching. So Karcher is from that school of work on the I Ching and that school of thought, plus his own school of thought. And I have the Karcher books, and they're extremely good. So she learned from him. So you will find in this that slant on point of view. Now, also, with each hexagram in this book is given one of the tarot cards. Now, that is not in any other I Ching book that I have. Um, so, what I use now to look at those and compare them is this book on the tarot, which is an excellent book by David Fontana, because when you go to a tarot card, it will show you the tarot card's image, and then it will talk about the tarot in general. Then on the next page, what it does, it'll take each segment of that picture and tell you what it means. And then when you go over here, it'll also just tell you how they vary from other cards, which decks are different and how they're different. But then it'll give you a general point down here on everything it means. So when I read these along with the I Ching hexagram that is in here, I find it's very enlightening. So that's one more thing that this person has done that is very different. Now, another thing that this person has done that is very different, let's take a look, for example, is that it's done differently. I'll just show you in brief. We'll go on with this, of course, but the very first hexagram, which is called the dragon, you will notice, first of all, that she gives the hexagram name, the Chinese name of it, the lines, and then the oracle script, the way it looks, the drawing, the actual Chinese drawing, the way it looked years ago, and then what it means. Then the tarot card under that, then the meaning of it. Now, what she does in here when she talks about it, for example, she uses many sources about this. She doesn't just talk about what the I Ching says. She will compare it for sometimes to the Bible, to the Bhagavad Gita, to a dictionary of old Chinese words, and so forth. So she has, first of all, this section here, which I just told you about, and you see that And then she writes about it. And then the next section is one of her drawings. That drawing goes with hexagram 1. And what they will say right underneath them is where it comes from. Now, this happens to come from the book of Job. The Spirit of God hath made me, and the breath of the Almighty hath given me life. Okay? And then at the end of this here, she will also do another quote, and this comes from Etymology Dictionary of Old Chinese. And then she quotes it. And then she says in the next section, guru. Now that's the spiritual meaning of this particular card. And then she'll have another quote under that. For example, here's another quote under the first hexagram. And this is from Lord Byron, a fragment of his Turkish tale. Then after that, which is interesting, personal example. Here is how she has used this either herself or with those who come to her for readings, because she is a reader. Then you get to the lines themselves, the changing lines, if there is a changing line. But one of the things she does, which is very interesting, is you call, if it changes, it's transformed into shadow. Now, what shadow means with her is when you go to what she suggests is the next thing to go to, it is the exact opposite meaning of this line. So you can get the 2 points of view this kind of thing has. Now, we'll continue with this in a moment, but this is quite unique, and I plan to give you a little more on it. This is a new and fascinating I Ching. We'll be back shortly.